Your check engine light just came on. Ignore it, and what should have cost $10 could turn into a $3,000 repair. Most drivers throw money at the wrong fix, or wait until it's too late. In this video, we'll show you 10 common reasons your light turns on, and how to fix each one the smart way before it wrecks your engine or your wallet. This first one happens while your car's parked, and you won't believe what causes it. Reason number 1, chewed wires from rodents. You park your car at night, everything's fine. Next morning, boom, check engine light. No strange sounds, no smoke, just that little icon glowing like a silent warning. But under the hood, it's chaos, thanks to a mouse. Modern cars use soy-based insulation on their wiring. To a hungry rodent, that's basically dinner. Just one bite can sever a critical signal, confuse the sensors, and light up your dashboard like a Christmas tree. Some drivers see traction control errors. Others get misfire codes or rough idle. It's random, because the damage is too. If you're lucky, it's a single wire. A quick splice with heat shrink tubing can fix it for under $30. But if they've chewed through a harness, you're looking at thousands. So here's what to do. Even if you've never had rodent issues, take a minute to look under the hood. Mice go where it's warm, dark, and quiet, and your engine bay is perfect. Wrapping key wires in rodent deterrent tape now can stop them before they even start. Peppermint spray helps too. Prevent it early, and you'll never have to pay for the damage. If it's not chewed wires, this next one hides in plain sight and fools almost everyone. Reason number 2, bad fuel tank sensor. You've tightened the gas cap, you've checked the hoses, maybe even borrowed a smoke machine from a buddy, but that check engine light keeps coming back, and you've got no clue why. There's a good chance it's not a leak at all. It's a tiny sensor sitting on top of your fuel tank, quietly throwing everything off. It's called the fuel tank pressure sensor. After every drive, your car runs a self-test to make sure no fuel vapor is escaping. If that sensor starts sending weird signals, just slightly too high or low, the computer thinks there's a leak and triggers the warning light. You might notice the gas pump clicking off too early or your fuel economy dipping, but otherwise, no real symptoms. Just that light, and sometimes a confusing code like P440. The fix depends on your car. Sometimes you can reach it under the rear seat. Other times, you'll need to slightly drop the tank. Either way, the sensor itself is cheap, usually under $90. And compared to chasing invisible leaks or failing an emissions test, that's a fix worth knowing. Still no clue what's wrong? The next reason rarely shows symptoms until it's way too late. Reason number 3, failing catalytic converter. One of the most expensive reasons your check engine light can show up is a failing catalytic converter, and it rarely travels alone. This device lives in your exhaust and filters out harmful gases using precious metals. But once the internal brick wears out, gets clogged, or poisoned by oil, coolant, or fuel, the car's sensors pick up the failure. That's when the PCM throws codes like P0420 or P0430 and lights up your dash. Drivers often notice a sulfur smell, weak acceleration, or worse, fuel economy. Some even hear a rattle under the car from the broken ceramic inside. If ignored, it can overheat and cause engine damage or fail your next emissions test. Basic tests with a scan tool, thermometer, or pressure gauge can confirm it. Replacement costs range from $900 to over $4,000 depending on the car, but catching it early can save thousands. If the converter is done, replace it, but don't forget to check what killed it, or the new one won't last either. Before we move on, make sure you're subscribed. This channel's built to help smart drivers avoid dumb bills, and your dashboard will thank you next time it lights up. Reason number 4, sludged VBT solenoid. If your car suddenly feels lazy, slower off the line, hiccuping at idle, or guzzling more gas than usual, that check engine light might be pointing to a gummed-up VBT solenoid. This little valve controls your engine's cam timing using oil pressure. But when oil gets old, thick, or dirty, it leaves varnish that jams the solenoid mid-stroke. The engine computer notices the timing isn't changing like it should and throws codes like P011 or P044. The fix can be surprisingly simple. Start with a fresh oil change, quality synthetic, correct viscosity, and a decent filter. If the light stays on, the solenoid might need to be cleaned or replaced. Most cost $50 to $120 and take about 20 minutes to swap out using basic tools. If your engine has one on each side, replace both. And if you're getting VVT codes right after a quick lube visit, double-check they use the right oil. A little upkeep here saves your cam timing and your catalytic converter. Think your engine's lazy? The next issue chokes it before it even gets air. Reason number 5, sticky throttle plate. Sometimes your check engine light flips on simply because the throttle plate can't move smoothly, and your car freaks out when it can't breathe right. Modern engines use an electric throttle body to control airflow. If carbon builds up around the plate, it starts sticking. The sensors report mismatched readings, and the computer panics, cutting power and throwing codes like P211 in line or P0121. You might feel a hard downshift, laggy throttle, or see a yellow lightning bolt on the dash. The fix? Often, it's a $10 can of throttle body cleaner and 30 minutes of careful wiping. Just remove the intake duct, gently open the plate, spray both sides, and wipe away the carbon. Don't force it open too far, or you'll damage the motor gears. Finish by letting the car idle for 5 minutes to relearn its position. That sticky gunk? It's been costing you throttle response, fuel economy, and now triggering your check engine light. But what if the problem isn't airflow at all, but a tiny invisible leak your sensors can't see? Reason number 6, hidden vacuum leak. Unseen and often unheard, a $5 vacuum hose can be the silent reason your check engine light refuses to go away. Modern engines rely on perfect airflow math. If a hose cracks or a gasket leaks between the mass airflow sensor and the intake valves, air sneaks in unmeasured. The engine computer sees too much oxygen and scrambles to correct it, adding fuel, adjusting trims, until it hits its limit. That's when it sets P0171 or P0174 and lights up your dash. You might notice a rough idle, high revs at a stoplight, or hear a faint hiss under the hood. Some drivers smell fuel, others feel hard starts or stalling. Left unchecked, the mix turns dangerously lean, raising exhaust temperatures and baking your catalytic converter. The fix? Smoke testing, or a careful listen around intake hoses, elbows, or the throttle body gasket. Swapping a cracked hose or reseating a boot takes less than 30 minutes and could save you a $1,000 CAT or a failed emissions test. Still running rough? The part causing it is inches away and probably coated in grime. Reason number 7, dirty MAF sensor. Tucked just past your air filter, the mass airflow sensor quietly tells the engine how much air it's breathing. But when that sensor gets coated in dust, oil, or even silicone vapor from an old breather hose, its readings slip and the check engine light follows soon after. You might not feel it right away. Maybe the car hesitates on hills, idles rough at a stoplight, or shifts hard when cold. But what's happening is simple. The engine's guessing wrong on fuel, running lean or rich, and eventually throwing P0101 or related codes. Cleaning it takes less than 15 minutes. A $12 can of sensor safe spray, a couple of Torx screws, and a gentle touch. That's it. Just avoid touching the wire or using harsh cleaners. If cleaning doesn't solve it, a replacement sensor can cost between $80 to $400 depending on the vehicle, but catching it early could save you hundreds in gas, converter wear, and shop diagnostics. Reason number 8, failing cam sensor. One tiny sensor near your camshaft can bring your whole engine to a halt, and it's a top offender behind mystery check engine lights. When the camshaft position sensor starts misfiring, your car's computer loses track of valve timing. It doesn't know when to inject fuel or fire the spark. That's when you'll see codes like P0340 or P0345 and feel sudden stalls, no starts after fill-ups, or jerky idle that seems to come and go. You might even crank the key and see the attach stay flat. Classic sign the sensor's gone dark. The fix? Often just one 10mm bolt and a $60 to $120 sensor. It's usually right on top of the engine, takes 20 minutes to swap, and needs only light torque on reassembly. Add a dab of dielectric grease to the plug, clear the codes, and that headache's gone. Skip it too long and you risk raw fuel flooding the converter or valve timing slipping off target, costly damage for a $100 part you can change in your driveway. Before we hit the big one, let's look at the small part that throws off everything downstream. Reason number 9. Stuck open thermostat. If your heater barely warms up or your engine temp needle won't climb past the first quarter, even after 15 minutes of driving, you might have a thermostat stuck open. And yep, that small valve can trigger the check engine light with code P0128. Engines are designed to hit around 195 to 205 degrees quickly. That helps fuel burn clean, oil flow properly, and sensors calibrate. But when the thermostat jams open, coolant constantly circulates and keeps the engine running too cold. The computer sees that and throws a warning. Fuel economy takes a hit, cabin heat suffers, and some cars even flash weird power steering warnings, all tied back to that little part. You can test it using a scan tool or an infrared thermometer pointed at the radiator hose. Do-it-yourselfers can swap the stat in an hour or two on many cars. Parts are cheap, often $20 to $40. Just don't skip bleeding the cooling system, or you'll create new problems the moment you fire it up. Reason number 10. Failing crank sensor. Sometimes your car cranks fine in the morning, but stalls at a red light or won't start after a quick gas stop. That could be your crankshaft position sensor calling it quits, especially if it's hot outside. This sensor tells your engine exactly when to fire, but after years of heat, oil leaks, or rough roads, it starts dropping signal, especially when heat-soaked near the exhaust. The result? The computer gets confused, cuts spark or fuel, and your check engine light flashes on. Common codes include P0335, or even strange misfire readings when nothing feels wrong. The fix is surprisingly simple. Most sensors cost $40 to $120 and need only a 10mm socket and 20 minutes if the location is easy to reach. Add a relearn with a scan tool and you're done. Just don't cheap out. Low-quality sensors often fail again. If your car acts up only when warm, this tiny part might be the one standing between you and a stalled engine. Your dashboard's quiet now, but what about what's happening under the hood? Watch next to learn 12 subtle driving habits that are secretly ruining your diesel without throwing a single code.